So if you spend any time on the art platform DeviantArt, among the millions of creators, you might just stumble upon a profile that perfectly captures how weird and complex it is to be an artist right now. He goes by Prompt Daddy, and honestly, his work is a fascinating look into what creativity means in the age of AI.
Okay, first off, you just have to wrap your head around the sheer scale of his work. We're talking over 10,800 individual pieces of art, or deviations as they call them on the site. That volume alone is incredible, and it's your first big clue that this isn't your typical artist with a paintbrush.
But here's the thing, this massive gallery of images, it's really just the front door. It's the entrance to a world that is so much stranger, so much deeper, and way more human than you'd ever guess just by looking at the pixels.
All right, so let's start with the most obvious piece of the puzzle. Prompt Daddy is a creator of what he calls ART, that's AI-generated art. He's a digital artist who uses algorithms and prompts the way a painter uses a brush. And he's built this enormous, machine-made gallery.
And you can totally see his personality just woven right into the titles. They're quirky, they're self-referential, and he's completely open about where they come from. You get these great pop culture puns like algorithmical Jackson's Thriller, nods to sci-fi, and even titles that are literally just the raw output from the machine. He's not trying to hide the process at all. He's making his partnership with the AI part of the art itself.
So, you gotta ask, right? What kind of person makes 10,000 pieces of AI art and gives them names like these? Well, that question is what takes us away from the art and introduces us to someone we're not expecting at all.
Because this is where it gets really interesting. Behind the AI art machine, there's a whole second identity, the philosopher. Tucked away in his profile, you find these journals, these essays, these manifestos that dive into some of the deepest and most out-there topics you can imagine.
And wow, this quote just perfectly captures that contrast. It's from one of his journals. I mean, it is heavy, it's dark, and it's directly inspired by ancient Gnostic philosophy. It's a universe away from the playful vibe of his AI gallery. This isn't just an artist. This is someone seriously grappling with the nature of reality itself.
And just look at the sheer range of topics he's exploring. He's writing about the ethics of creating sentient AI, the Gnostic idea of a flawed creator god they call the demiurge, this complex cosmology he calls the Enochian matrix, and even deep dives into really bizarre biblical passages. This isn't just some casual hobby, you know? This is a full-blown intellectual obsession.
Okay, so we've got the art and we've got the philosophy. But how do you connect those two worlds? How does all of this actually become a real, sustainable project? Well, that brings us to a third layer. Prompt Daddy is also a really smart digital entrepreneur. He's built a whole business model around this unique mix of content.
It's all right there on his DeviantArt page. He's monetized everything through a tiered subscription service. Fans can jump in with a $2 tip that has this super playful name, or go all the way up to an $88 patron tier. He's actually engineered a way to fund his entire creative world.
But he's not just building his own business. He seems to be building a community too. He's paying it forward, kind of acting as a guide for other artists on the platform. He's written his own dad guide, teaching other creators the nuts and bolts of how to make their own profiles look professional, from custom banners to linking their own stores.
So let's recap. We've got the artist, the philosopher, and the entrepreneur. But there's one final layer to peel back, and honestly, it's the most personal one. What about the human being sitting behind the screen, the actual man behind the machine?
And just look at the difference here. His official About section is, well, it's almost anonymous. Artist/other, United States, he/him. But then you dig into his personal journals, and he shares these incredibly humanizing details. A chaotic childhood, a father who was both a Navy man and a hippie, his parents splitting up. This is the real story, just hidden in plain sight.
And nothing reveals that human core more than this. The quote is from a journal entry he wrote about the death of his dog, Clarinet. He writes about the thunderous mutants of the empty house with this incredible poetic vulnerability. He even admits the loss hit him harder than a human breakup. It's just a moment of profound, raw grief that really connects you to the person behind all the pixels and all the philosophy.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, what do you actually get? You end up with a portrait of what you might call a digital alchemist, someone who's taking all these different parts of the modern digital world and transforming them into something new, something whole. We've seen the four faces of Prompt Daddy, right? You've got the AI art machine just cranking out images.
the esoteric thinker wrestling with existence itself, the digital entrepreneur building a brand, and the vulnerable diarist sharing his deepest pains. But these aren't separate identities. They're all integrated parts of one, complex and quintessentially modern creator.
And this really brings us to the huge question his story makes us ask. When a single person can be a content factory, a philosopher, a brand, and a raw, open-hearted human all at once, what does it truly mean to be an artist today? Prompt Daddy doesn't really give us an easy answer, but he offers this fascinating living example that challenges all of us to rethink the very definition of creativity in our digital age.